Costume season is starting again, so let's talk about costumes and the steps to making your dance costume. Hi everyone, my name is Sandra Faustina. I'm also the founder of Free Movement Dance Solutions, and at Free Movement Dance Solutions, we create dance costumes for you. So when you first come in and you make your appointment, whether you reach out to us over WhatsApp and you send us your measurements, or you come and make an appointment with us and you come by and we take your measurements. Once the measurements are done and we talk about your costume, you send us your picture inspirations, we talk about what costume you need done, what theme you need done, what is your genre of dance. Then we talk about like the colors that suit you, and or if you have any colors that you want, we'll do that as well. And once that is all done and we only collect payment up front, then our next step to do is to actually go ahead to source for fabrics. Now, while we're sourcing for fabrics, we actually have different suppliers that we work with. So we can either source them in the physical stores, or we also source them online from overseas. Sometimes we get fabrics from Japan, sometimes we get fabrics from Korea. So it just depends on where we want to get our fabrics from, depending on the costume that we are making. So once we get the fabrics, or rather while waiting for the fabrics to reach us, then we'll actually start with our pattern making. We'll actually start with the designing of the costume and conceptualizing before we actually start the patterns. And after we start the patterns, we actually start to craft the patterns by drawing and making sure that it is a custom costume made to your measurements. So that takes time, and once that is done, we create and we have drawn out all of our pattern pieces. We actually have to cut out our pattern pieces. After cutting out our pattern pieces, we actually get our fabrics once we receive them to actually cut them out on the different fabric pieces, assuming that we don't have to create draft patterns first. So we go ahead and we cut out the pattern pieces on the fabrics that we're using for the costumes. Now, sometimes that's just one fabric, two fabrics. Sometimes we use as many as 5, 6, 7 fabrics for one single costume. After that's done, we usually also have to cut out applique pieces, and a lot of the time they're actually like bridal floral, beautiful 3D pieces that we get from the stores, and we actually cut them out one by one before placing them on a costume. So once we have prepared all of the materials that we're actually going, and rather the embellishments that we're going to put up on the costume, then we are going to actually start sewing the costume together. So once we start sewing, that usually takes us a couple of days to perhaps even up to a week or so. Then we will go ahead to piece them together bit by bit and then do our measurements to make sure it's all okay. Once that is done, then we'll go ahead to actually drape and fit them on our mannequins and our dress forms, place our applique pieces, and see how we want to match them. A lot of the time, when we have a costume design in mind, we don't have a fully finished look. We have to kind of wait and see the kind of general feeling as it comes. It's kind of like an inspiration thing, so I can't really tell you that it's gonna definitely look like that, stuff like that. So a lot of the time we go a lot by inspiration as well. So we really enjoy the whole process of being able to have that creative freedom. And after that's done, then we start to place all of the appliques on, like for instance, we sew them on, stuff like that. And once that's done, then we do the final part, which is to embellish using rhinestones, using beads and stuff like that. So that's going to take a long time more. And once that's all done, we usually get the costume set before we want to actually pass the costume on or it's ready for fitting. So once that's all said and done, we'll do a final quality check just to make sure everything is good. Then we'll send out the costume to you. So a lot of the times we actually do send a costume directly over to you so that you can do the fitting at home. And if you're not sure about the fit, or if you feel like there needs to be any alteration that needs to be done, we do provide a one-time alteration for minor alterations to your costume. So you can let us know what alterations needed by sending us photos or videos, or if you want to come over and do a fitting to get it done, we can arrange for that as well. We can't promise you because we have a lot of time blocks and appointments that needs to be done. So most of the time it's a lot faster if we send over the costume to you. So let me know if you have any questions about costume making, and I'm more than happy to answer all of your questions.